Great. Okay. I'm gonna just pull up my presentation. Thank you everybody for coming in, everybody who's here and everybody who's online. I'm very grateful for the community that I have here at the BJC. And yeah, I wanna say thank you to Shane, Elliott, and Jen and Erica, who was a past studio manager in April as well. Like this studio has been so welcoming to me and so good to me, and I don't really know what I would be doing without it. So I guess without further ado, I'll show you what I've done here at the BJC for like the last few years, and also what I've done the last few weeks. So yeah, so I was like, let's start at the beginning. So this is actually me at Micah when I was like 5. And they had me draw a self-portrait, and I was doing a really good job drawing my glasses and my eyeballs, obviously. So drawing has been like really, really deeply part of my being for a really long time. And you'll kind of see that without this practice, I wouldn't have my jewelry practice.
We can't see your screen share.
Oh, you can't? Oh no. Okay, I'm going back. Okay, we're back at it. So now y'all can see the small version of myself that I was talking about. I'm drawing a really good eyeball. And that's where I've started. That's how I started being an artist. So I grew up with a lot of illustration and children's books. And I became really interested in like storytelling visually and like the efficiency of the image and like the weight of symbolism. And you can see, like, you'll see in my work how much I rely on like heavily used imagery and like imagery that we can recognize in like an instant. So I've got like, these were 3 illustrators that I was really influenced by. I remembered reading The Mitten a lot as a kid. I don't know if y'all read The Mitten. Another really big influence for me is animation. I'm really fascinated by the way animators can craft like a complete world from scratch. And it lends itself really well to visual metaphor. The works I'm really inspired by are, they often deal with like fear and wonder when you are exploring an unknown. And as a queer artist, I'm like very fascinated by those narratives, because our society doesn't always provide us with the narratives that are straightforward or like feed into like an experience that isn't heteronormative or just outside of the norm. And I really, really find tales of uncertainty like resonate with me, because I don't always have answers. And I think it's really important to kind of accept that sometimes. I look for some of those elements in film as well. And I'm inspired by when filmmakers like don't limit themselves and have these like really surreal worlds for human actors to live in. And of course, like storytelling is just like really fascinating to me. So this is high school work that isn't embarrassing. Wait, let me hide this. Can I hide this? I didn't realize that. Oh, you guys can't see it?
No, we can only see your InDesign screen.
Oh, okay. Zoom people can. Okay, cool. Sorry, there's just like a whole. Okay. Cool. Thank you for your patience, everybody. So yeah, this is kind of where I was getting my voice visually. I went to a high school out in the county that focused a lot on figurative observational work, and that really educates most of the work that I do now. And I went to college and studied industrial design, which was fine, but I really found my passion in like the handful of jewelry classes that I took at Mass Art. And when I moved back to Baltimore, I was lucky enough to move into a city that had an institution like the BJC. So I came here and started making work. There we go. Like this. This is like one of the first pieces I made at the BJC. I was really interested in like the surreal compositions and also wanting to revisit repoussé, which is like one of the last skills I learned before I left college. So while I was doing all of these jewelry pieces, oops, I also was keeping up an illustration practice. It's important for me to have characters and stories that tell a variation of my own experience as a queer person. And I source a lot of iconography and folk motifs from Hungary in an attempt to like understand a culture that I've descended from. So I've got like characters living in a world, kind of crafting a complete reality for everybody to live in. So more early work. And this was a body of work where I really got serious about combining my illustration and metalsmithing. They were done on like, the scrimshaw was done on fake bone sheet. And I decided to use scrimshaw because it has like a rustic subject matter that kind of matches, or the scrimshaw technique is rustic and it matches the subject matter of like imagined folk tales that deal with like the frailty of humanity in the robustness of nature. So I had these made up tales where people are getting like their hands cut off or getting like accepting like a wolf biting their neck or something vicious like that. So like, again, my illustration is kind of living in the same reality, thinking about like drama and nature and like fighting for your life sometimes. So also I was able to take a lot of classes while I was at the BJC and really learn a lot of new techniques. This piece was a steel piece from a class with April Wood. And that was really helpful. You'll see I actually have steel work in my residency, which I hadn't done since this class. And it was really, really great to like revisit that skill set. Another opportunity I had at the BJC was working with the Maryland Historical Society to do a piece for a fashion show that was responding to their like historical garment collection. So this piece really got me thinking about jewelry on a larger scale. This is another instance in which I did something like 3 years ago, and didn't really get a chance to revisit it until this residency. So really like making big jewelry, like garments almost. So this is one of the first pieces of mother of pearl scrimshaw that I did. And yeah, that's kind of it on that one. I was like, what did I read about that? I made it. But also this large drawing in the next slide is it depicts like the same scene from a story. So I'm trying to connect everything that I make. I don't want to have separate practices. I want to have practices that breathe life into each other. So if I ever have trouble with one practice, the other one usually falls by the wayside. So you got to kind of like keep the pace. I have to be able to illustrate and I also have to be able to make jewelry. Another, like the BJC, again, they're always like giving me good prompts, getting me to do good stuff. This was a piece done for a community challenge. And this was one of the first pieces that I really like pushed like being gay into. I was like, okay, I should make a piece like that. And it's kind of asking the question about like whether an author is a voyeur when they're crafting like queer romance. And that's kind of that. And then there's another, I figured these two, they're kind of like cute, meet cute of girls. And so this is like a pretty foundational piece for like the ideas that I'm currently working on in my work. The title, How Is She There in the Fog, references Yuri Norstein's short animation, Hedgehog in the Fog, which deals with finding peace with the unknown while having the courage to confront it. So it's like we all question our identities. We all struggle to find how we can define ourselves with language. And jewelry is a great tool for me because it isn't bound by language. It's not bound by words or expectations. So this piece is an important one. These ones could just have like, look, they've got two cloud situations going on, you know, they relate. This is in 2021, I took a chain class with Andy Lowry, and he really got me thinking about how I should stop making brooches and start making necklaces. And this is the first piece I did with like a chain mesh design, kind of inspired by chainmail. And I was revisiting concepts that I explored in the Historical Society fashion show. And I was thinking about metal as like a wearable, in like as chainmail would be like something like a big piece of jewelry that you wear. And I was also really interested in crafting like metal structures that emulate textiles. Oops. And then this piece has the dandelion reference in it. I was using a lot of dandelion imagery in the last year. And I'm really found interest in that. I have empathy with it as like an undesirable weed. Like I feel for it. It's kind of, I feel like it's gotten a really bad end of the stick. Is that an expression? And I also really love that they are these really transformative entities. And I feel like it resonates with like the human journey, and that we don't stay the same. And it's good to find comfort in change and growth. So these most recent works are continuing my exploration of wearable like metal textiles. They're amulets of both protection and attack. And as someone who has feared relationships and intimacy for a long time, these pieces are a meditation on desiring something more than fearing it, and understanding the resilience of my own self. They're just like, they're big, they make noise when you wear them. But I think they also like garner like attraction and attention. And like, I love that a piece that can be both protective and offensive, not in like the sense that it's offensive, but in the sense that it's on the offense. So this also fulfills that kind of, this piece is on a show, right? It's in a traveling show right now with these two pieces actually, curated by Adam Atkinson and Everett Hoffman, and they're going to be in Richmond soon, which I'm excited about. But yeah, it's like a group of queer artists, and I'm really grateful to be part of that too. Just being treated kindly lately by the jewelry world. And that's the backside. I find the backsides of work really important to put some focus on because of just like the exploratory nature of my practice. I want my pieces themselves to be exploratory objects. Like I want people to get to know them better, in the sense that when I'm working on them, I'm getting to know myself better. All right, so now I'm going to talk about what I made. I don't have any pictures, so you guys are going to have to wait for us to go out into the hallway. But the body of work that I explored in the past month is heavily influenced by the photography of this artist, or of this photographer, Charles Frager. He documents a lot of masquerade rituals around the world. And I find a lot of interest in the guise of the mask, because it can like frighten away things like unrelenting cycles, like winter and death and famine. And masks are like very willing to, they're like good things for subversion and of gender and age. And they allow us to emulate the power of beasts or the robustness of nature. And because my work is frequently about telling the story of the other or the unknown, I find deep interest in these traditions. My other work also references folk tales, and I figured it would make sense to craft new folkloric entities with the masks that I made in this residency. These entities are fearsome and stalwart in the face of winter and can be donned for self-reflection or taking action. And it's really important to like understand this work as like both scary and comforting. I think that's kind of been the like dichotomy of a lot of my work lately. Not in the sense that it is frightening, but like the things that I'm confronting in myself are scary and comforting. So that's my talk. Thank you guys for coming. I guess we can go outside and wow, there's a lot of people here. Hi guys. Thank you guys. Yeah, I guess I'll stop sharing. Yeah. So I guess I could show you these pieces. I'm still working on like titles for them. But this one's kind of like a midwinter piece. This one's for self-reflection.
You would wear it this winter, right? In the cold of the January month.
I'm very spooky. Yeah, you could see right through the gap.
You've got it all set so that you'd be able to see.
Yeah. So this is my first time working in sheepskin, and it was kind of delightful. I had to like.
How did you attach it?
Well, it's all stitched in.
And did you punch holes?
Yeah, I used a little.
Wow.
Yeah, a little awl. So.
Oh yeah, very nice one. Thank you.
So there's that one.
And you had seams that you had to stitch as well.
Yeah, I had to like.
Very nice.
Situate it.
What did you use for thread?
Waxed nylon.
Oh.
I could put the other one on too.
Yeah.
So I don't quite yet know what kind of rituals these would be part of. I'm gonna figure that out in the winter because these are winter masks.
Kind of grumpy.
And that looks felted?
Yeah, this piece is needle felted
by someone.
By me.
Oh, by you. Oh, very nice. I didn't know you had done that.
I actually, yeah, you felted it. Don't you remember? No, I'm kidding.
No, I don't.
Yeah. And then there's a drawing that I did to accompany these.
Yeah.
It's in progress. But this one doesn't want to sit quite right. This hanger isn't super. Like rock walls and architecture, like architecture as a mask and the decay of architecture and like being able to see past things and see like the truth of an object. So I have a lot of ideas about like pushing past barriers. So this piece is in progress, rock wall drawing that was kicking my ass. But yeah, you can kind of see they're paired. Oh, and tee. A little secret on the other side. Yeah.
And that one you use steel.
Yes, this is a steel piece. It helped for weight, and also I don't think I could afford this much silver.
Yeah.
A lot of silver. But this is like also one of the first mother of pearl pieces, like these mesh pieces where I was really working to combine the entire image instead of having like these little separate vignettes. And I'm really excited about doing more of this in the future. Yeah. Yay. Okay. Technology. Which So this one is like a rock wall, and there's someone carrying a rock behind the wall. They're like disassembling the wall, or they could be building it, who knows. And then this one, I had to go to Giant to buy a bag of clams, so I could smash one clam with a rock.
Really?
Yeah, so it's clams being smashed with a rock.
Wow.
You know, this one's for early spring. It's like you're getting sustenance finally after the cold months. I do find it ironic that I was working on like winter jewelry during like the longest, like June, which is like one of those hot months. It's one of those hot ones.
We're in the midst of it. The worst summer typically.
Yeah. I guess if you guys have questions.
Is any of this artwork for sale?
Yes. I haven't put any prices on them yet, but I just put out some of my
Available
production
upon
work.
request.
Because I do need to make some money. And then, so these pieces here are for sale. And then I've got these two drawings, which I will be putting prices on too. The masks are not right now. I'm gonna probably make more masks. I think that's a goal of mine in the next few months, is to like build this collection so I can have an even bigger thing to show.
Okay. What your hands? You use hands quite a lot in your jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's so much in this. Is there and it goes back a ways.
Yeah.
What is is it just you're fascinated by hands? Because they're not particularly easy to do.
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of a flex. Like, I can do a hand.
Yeah.
As in hands are hard to draw.
Yeah.
For the old people.
No, I just did for people who don't have
No.
drawing experience. Like,
Or don't know what flex means.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. So it is me showing off a little bit, but also, I mean, I am really. I've grown up in like a household that really values craft, and I've been making things with my hands for a really long time, and I think of hands as like this incredible gift that we have as artists and just as creatures in general. We have like the most amazing hands. So they're like my favorite part of the body. I love hands. They're amazing.
Wow, I'm happy to hear that.
They're so good to us.
Yeah, they are.
We really lucked out with hands.
Oh my
We
God.
could be like dolphins, don't have hands, but they've got brains.
All brains, no hands.
Are there any other questions from the group here? Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So have you thought about like documenting these in some sort of like alternative environment? Because I feel like they really lend themselves to like performance or beauty photo.
I do really want to figure out like a performance.
Yeah.
I don't have any ideas for them yet. I was almost thinking like some kind of like weird drag, like really like weird drag.
Yeah.
But I do have like plans to get nice photos of these outside, but I have to wait until winter. I have to wait for like the trees to be bare. Hopefully some snow on the ground. I want to get some photos of these with snow on the ground.
That'd be amazing.
But yeah, and also like I do eventually want to figure out like an entire ensemble to be running with them.
Yeah.
So that'll be something for the future.
That'd be really cool.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Yeah.
I'm gonna go back here.
I noticed that color functions very differently in your drawings than it does in your jewelry. Can you talk a little bit about how you choose colors for both of those practically?
That's a very good question. So I think the color in my drawings, at least like historically, has been really influenced by the fact that I studied like painting a lot in high school. So I have like not necessarily like a naturalist approach to color, but like a observational approach to color. And I do actually think that since I've started this body of work, I have been doing like, I've been exploring like more limited colors, like this piece here, or even the piece here, like just kind of limiting my colors and representing things like much more surreal and less like from life. As far as jewelry goes, I do think if I gave myself like the free reign of all the colors that I use in my illustration, I would be disappointed with the work that I'm making. I think, at least with jewelry, I really have figured out that less is more for color. And I have like a particular affinity for red because it's got like this lifeblood and vein in it. It's kind of like vigorous, like our struggle against nature. Yes.
Astute question. What was your question?
So I love cameras. It's okay, you can do it.
I just want to pick up your voice.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I'm normal. So how do you feel about this idea that you are not fully obscuring the wearer with your own thoughts and concepts?
Whoa. I didn't really think of anybody else being the wearer except myself. And I do think that all art, when we wear it, we become like, especially with jewelry, especially with like wearable things, we do become like a walking idea for this, like they're absorbing our ideas and kind of accepting them. So I do think that if someone else were to wear these pieces, I would maybe have to talk with them about how they feel about it. And like, do they want my ideas? Do they want to, because this is more than wearing a brooch. This is like becoming part of the world that I made. Which is why I haven't really thought of it on anybody else except myself. Like these are personal pieces. This wasn't real for sale. But you're gonna make me think. I don't have like more to say about that, but I do have a lot to think about on that.
Elliot Papp says, come take snow photos back in New England.
Oh yeah, I'll come back to Massachusetts.
Are there any other questions or comments, either on Zoom or in person?
I have a comment.
Go for it, Susan.
This is Susan. In relationship to the last question, what do you feel about the wearer bringing their own interpretation or thoughts to your piece? I mean, if somebody else were to wear your personal pieces, perhaps they would think of it more as concealing who they are versus trying to get past a scary object.
I love that. No, I do think it's just something that we'll have to figure out if the situation ever presents itself. Which people are allowed to wear these. If you want to put it on and give it a try. It is fit for my small head. So if you have a bigger head, I don't know how it will fit. But you know, everybody does build their own relationship with the work that I make or the work that anybody makes. So go for it. I'm really curious to see people's interpretations of the work. Thank you, Susan.
This is kind of like, I don't know how to describe this question, but where would you store them? And if you do store them in a place that's personal to you, do you think you would feel the way that you do about them now later? Like if you held on to them, do you feel like it's something that you want to get rid of, something that you spend time with?
Well, Jordan and I literally just discussed storing these. Like when they came in and saw them mounted on the wall. Our house is, for anyone who's been in our house, it is just like filled to the brim with weird stuff and art. So these guys are probably going to get mounted somewhere on the wall, especially since I have these mounts made for them. If our plastered walls will accept the mounts. And I do think that my relationship to them will change because I want to make more masks. Okay. Which means like these guys are the first ones. Who knows what's next? Like who knows how much I'll care about them after I've made like my 5th mask. And I think that that's really exciting to me. They're very precious right now, but I like, as anyone who makes art knows that like the longer you have away from a piece, the it's important, but it feels less precious.
Yeah.
Especially when you forget how much time you spent on it. But yeah.
That answers my question. It was like a artist to artist question. Like
Oh,
wondering
yeah.
how you feel about your art
Yeah.
in the future.
I usually
You're
don't.
retired.
I usually don't hate my art. I have problems with it, but I don't hate it.
That's good.
Yeah. What's up?
You touched on this a little bit in your talk when you talked about textiles, but do you feel that there is a significant distinction between a jewelry object and a garment in your work?
I think if it's not like a necklace or a brooch or earrings or like a defined, like historically defined piece of jewelry, then it could be either. It like, I think that's up for distinction or for anybody to distinguish for themselves. That sounds like a cop out. I think these are garments. I don't think they're jewelry. I think they're wearable. And I've been really interested in masks as like a between and in between for jewelry and garments and just like adornment. But yeah, I do think these are personally, I think they're much more garment than they are jewelry. They have jewelry techniques in them though, and garment techniques.
Did these allow you to consider any ideas that you hadn't thought about, but maybe are still separate to this?
I would say the drawings that I came up with for these are like, especially this scrimshaw piece is like that I'm exploring new subject matter in my illustrations, which is important because I actually hit a lot of roadblocks with subject matter because I am like kind of perfectionist about the images that I want to represent and how effective they are and like what, like where do they rest in like the general understanding of images. I'm really interested in like iconography and like things that are universal and understood. So I have like I kind of get caught up in like the whole brainstorming part where I'm like, I need to make sure it's a perfect thing that people get. And also that like actually can be represented with scrimshaw because there are limitations to like what kind of quality of rendering I can get. So I think that's one of the important things I figured out. I'm trying to think about. I love felting. I love felting. I figured that out. Felting is so fun. Yes.
No, well, you were doing some things that had to do with like mazes and maps and paths, and I'm wondering if you tie this to this work or in like the possible larger scale installation, other things that go with it that
I would honestly love to
has
see
any sort of overlap.
I would love to see like this piece worn with like one of the big necklaces that I've made recently. I feel like that would be an extremely powerful being. But
I was also picturing turning the corner and seeing you in this light in the maze, and it blew me away.
Oh, like kind of like a minotaur, like this sneaky creature that's like chasing you.
Yeah, but your version.
I have a question. What's up?
So you make masks, and I can't help but think about costume and character. Is that something that you thought about when making these?
Yes, I did. I had like descriptions that I read to Shane at like the very beginning of the residency where I was like, what's the character in the mask? So this one is like quiet and introspective and like deep thinking. Just kind of like, this is like who you would see, like you turn the corner and you'd see this character like sitting and thinking and you would get scared. And then you'd realize that they actually are too busy thinking to be a threat. And then this one is flirty, but in a scary way. It's like this one's like more like ready to party. That's my interpretation. That's what I was coming up with. It's cracking open a shell, like it's getting ready to eat.
Do they get along with each other?
They do. They're friends. They have their differences, but they're friends.
Hell yeah.
What's up? Oh, hi, Margo. I noticed this person with the bangs as a recurring character in your art. Who are they?
They're like a traveling nun. Who I'm not like a great writer or like a great plot person. So I just kind of like have these characters that I imagine in my brain. I don't actually have them built that much, but she's like searching for connection. And searching for like not like love, but like finding like loneliness, dealing with loneliness. And then like when the clouds kind of break, she's looking for the cloud break in loneliness. But yeah, she's looking for. She's gonna find a coat with a ghost in it. Ooh. That's actually, she finds a coat with a ghost in it, and then they fall in love. It's true. This is real stuff that I thought about. What's up? Hey, Jake.
Building on that question, the characters and narratives that you depict in your work, would you consider those narratives to be based on or in response to your own experience, or are they more constructed?
So I guess there's a lot of narratives about like finding connection and like walking, like dealing with like personal unknowns. So they do live like some element of my own truth, but also I have characters that are like much braver than me, or like much more forward than I am, like sexier characters and stuff like that. So they live parts of myself, but they also live like more, they're more than I am, in ways that I aspire to be. Yeah, if that answers it. I think so. Hey, Elle.
When you're making these things, what does it feel like in your brain?
Oh,
if you want to share,
sometimes it's like, but a lot of times I'm listening to music, something I really like, and I've been doing jewelry for like a decent enough time where I don't make horrible mistakes that frustrate me. So coming to the studio and like doing work is like usually really, really pleasant for me. And like there are days when I surprise myself and everything goes really smoothly and it feels good. Sometimes I struggle with like the ideas part, the brainstorming part, and it's because I self-censor a lot. And that's just something I'm working on. But the actual making of the things, like when I get my hands dirty, I'm like in the zone. Feels great.
Good job, Margo.
Yay, Margo!
I do want to mention that in addition to being a wonderful artist, Margo is a big ambassador for the BJC. She's probably brought us a dozen students over the years and will attend events like New York City Jewelry Week, and just like, you know, I would, after events like that, I'll hear like, oh, I met Margo from the BJC, which is great. And Margo's done a lot of, for better or worse, I will call it substitute work for us, like covering for studio manager. She's just helped us so much, and we're
It's a mutual relationship.
I also want to plug, I know it's in the chat now, but a week from now, you can have a chance to hear from Margo again, along with 3 other residents who've been part of our residency over the past couple of years. At this point, I think we're up to like 35 residents since 2017. It's pretty amazing. Next week, we're going to have just a conversation with 4 of our residents about their experience in our program, prior to our program, after our program. It'll be great. Come listen to them. If you're interested in residencies, it's also great to attend. That is part of our summer fundraiser. We are a nonprofit. Everything that we do is funded by wonderful people, many of whom are here and on Zoom. This summer, we are aiming to reach $50,000. If our community raises $25,000, our board's going to match it, and we are about a third of the way to $25,000, and we have between July 1st and the end of September, so we're doing okay. But coming out next week, we have a couple other events that are coming up, so just pay attention to our newsletter and our Instagram. But thank you all so much. Like, this is such a wonderful turnout. We are first and foremost like lovers of community and craft, and that's what we got here tonight. So thanks for coming out. Congratulations, Margo.
Yeah.
Come see the work.